It is in the opinion of the councilman that they should have more time for study of the report. I think it should be granted. However, I believe that they have had enough time for the study. And the Taylor report, in my estimation, has had a lot of sound thinking, has had fundamental principles that are adaptable to the telephone company's responsibility as well as the public utilities responsibility.
Do you feel that the public is ready for some decision on this by the council?
I believe so. In fact, I've had pro and con on it. Some people don't want their telephone rates raised, and others, I've had more calls about service of the telephone company than I have had that they didn't want the rate raised.
If you're unlucky enough to have to visit Tarrant County Jail and be behind bars here, chances are good that you might have to sleep on the floor or even eat sitting on the floor. And it's not a case of bad treatment. It's just that there's not enough room here for all the prisoners. Sheriff Lon Evans says that Tarrant County commissioners are aware of the situation and that it has been critical for several years. Yet the commissioners have not responded to the sheriff's request for more space. I asked County Judge Howard Green today if the commissioners have any plans at all for expansion of the jail.
The only plans that we have to expand the county jail would be to ask the voters of this county to approve a bond issue of probably $1,300,000. We don't have the money without a bond issue to complete the 3 floors of the jail, and so then it would be our responsibility to ask the voters to approve the bond issue, and that would give us space for 150 additional prisoners.
Sheriff Evans says 1 or even 2 more floors of jail cells are needed now, and the overcrowded conditions here are said to be conducive to a possible riot. Only last week here, several prisoners were placed in solitary confinement because they set their mattresses on fire, and Warden Rook Ramsey says that incident was caused directly by the overcrowding conditions. Jim Green, Channel 8 News on the Move, Fort Worth.
I'm afraid that its willingness to circumvent this ceasefire as well as to circumvent the United Nations will tend to corroborate the Arab general suspicion that they are using the ceasefire as well as the nebulous statements in order to prevent the Arabs from being prepared for the confrontation that they are planning for. And there are now evidence of a build-up by Israel on the eastern part of the Suez.
Now, the Taylor report has given the straight line residential $6.35. The telephone company was asking for $6.60. The two-party residential, the Taylor report was $4.90, the same as the telephone company, and the extension was the same. Now, in these areas, in these three areas that I have just spoken about, there is a possibility of some compromise in that area.
Well, it's